I confronted my wife about her affair, and her reaction shocked me. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. Jenna didn't flinch when I slid the printed screenshots across our kitchen table. She smiled. Not a nervous smile. Not a "this is a misunderstanding" smile. The kind you give a waiter when you already know what you're ordering. I'm Ryan, 33, the boring stable one. I keep the lights on, the mortgage auto-pay running, the pediatrician appointments on the calendar. I work IT for a mid-sized logistics company. Nothing glamorous, just enough to afford a small house in the suburbs and a life that looks normal from the outside. Jenna, 32, is the polished one. She can walk into a room and make everyone feel like they're the most interesting person there. She's the one people remember. We have a 5-year-old who thinks our biggest problem is whether pancakes count as dinner. So when I say I confronted my wife, understand, I didn't kick doors. I didn't scream. I didn't follow her car in a rage like some movie. I did what I do at work when something doesn't add up. I pulled logs, cross-checked timestamps, and built a file. Because 3 months ago, little things started to feel off. Then my phone buzzed with a bank alert I couldn't explain. Then a name I didn't recognize kept showing up in the corners of our life, like a watermark. Ethan. 2 days later, that name would be projected on a screen in Attorney Patel's office, with my full legal name sitting right beside it like a joke. I thought I was walking into a conversation about trust. About whether my marriage was about to break. I thought the worst thing I'd hear tonight would be her admitting she fell for someone else. Instead, she looked at the evidence, tapped it into a neat stack, and said, "You did a great job. You found it faster than I expected." My mouth went dry. Expected? She leaned back like we're discussing paint colors. "Ryan, I need you to stay calm," she said, and the way she said it made me feel like the person in danger is me. I glanced toward the hallway where our kid's bedroom door was shut, and I swear I could hear my own heartbeat in the quiet. Then Jenna quietly told me my name was already on his loan. Before the weird charges and the late-night work calls, Jenna and I were the couple people pointed at and said, "See, that's what marriage should look like." We met at a friend's backyard 4th of July thing. Me hovering by the grill because I didn't know what else to do, her laughing too loud at somebody's bad joke. She had this way of making shy people feel included without making it a project. I was the guy with a stable job and a reliable car. She was the one who could talk to anyone, anywhere, and walk away with a new contact and a story. When we got serious, we divided life the way most couples do. I handled the practical stuff that didn't require charm, repairs, tech, schedules. Jenna handled the social calendar, the family communication, and, honestly, most of our adult paperwork. She liked it. I was grateful. I told myself trust meant not hovering over her shoulder like a manager. Our normal was quiet. Weeknight dinners, cartoons in the background, Jenna reading on the couch while I answered an email from work. She'd steal fries off my plate and grin like she was getting away with something. We weren't perfect, but we were steady. If there was a before moment that haunts me now, it was the first time Jenna got weird about the mail. I'd come home with the kid and find a small stack already opened on the counter, neatly sorted. One afternoon, I picked up a credit card offer out of habit, and Jenna snapped, "Just a quick, sharp, don't. I'll handle it." Then she softened, kissed my cheek, and said she was trying to keep clutter down. I remember joking, "What? Are you hiding a secret life in there?" She laughed, but her eyes didn't. Not for a second. At the time, I told myself I was being paranoid. People get stressed. People get snippy. Jenna was always juggling 1,000 invisible things, and I didn't want to be the guy who made her feel accused for having an opinion. So I let it go. I let a lot of things go. Looking back, that might have been the first time she tested how easily I'd step back when she asked. That night, I realized Jenna had changed our passwords without telling me. The change wasn't one big obvious thing. It was a slow rewrite of our routines, like someone nudging furniture an inch every day until you're tripping over it. Jenna started keeping her phone face down. Always. If it lit up, she'd flip it over with this reflexive little pat, like she was soothing an animal. She used to leave it on the coffee table while she showered. Now it went with her everywhere, even when she just ran to grab the laundry. Her schedule shifted too. Early Pilates, she said, twice a week, which was new because Jenna had always hated mornings. Then late dinners, which was also new, and when I asked who she was meeting, she didn't get defensive, she got vague. Networking stuff, she said, waving a hand. You wouldn't care. That last part stung more than I wanted to admit. I told myself I was tired. That marriage means not interrogating every late night like you're an airport security guard. Then the money started doing weird things. Not, we're broke weird. More like, our accounts were being used in ways that didn't fit us. Small charges at first, $19.99 to something labeled HL Digital. $7.43 at a coffee shop downtown Jenna never mentioned. A $49.95 membership fee that didn't match any app one knew. I brought it up casually over dinner. Hey, what's HL Digital? Jenna didn't even look up from cutting the kids' chicken. Probably a subscription. I'll check. You sure? She finally met my eyes and smiled like I was adorable. Ryan, do you want me to handle it, or do you want to obsess? I hated that word, obsess. Like noticing our shared money was moving around made me unstable. So I backed off. Again. But one detail wouldn't leave me alone. My bank app had stopped sending me push alerts. I used to get them for every withdrawal, every new transaction. Now, nothing. I dug into settings and saw alerts were turned off for my login, but still on for Jenna's. When I mentioned it, she shrugged. Oh, I must have toggled something when I updated it. From my login? Babe, she said, voice soft, you hate notifications. I did you a favor. I stared at her, trying to decide if I was being manipulated or just absent. Then an unfamiliar credit inquiry notification hit my inbox at 2:11 a.m. At first I thought it was spam. The email subject was bland. Your credit file was accessed. Just a notification from a monitoring service I'd set up years ago and mostly ignored. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone lighting my hands, and clicked. Inquiry, Horizon Line Capital Services. Date, October 14th. Time, 2:09 a.m. Type, personal loan/installment. We hadn't applied for anything. We hadn't even talked about a new card. I searched my inbox for Horizon Line. Nothing. Then I checked spam, because apparently that was my life now. There it was. Welcome to Horizon Line Capital. Your application is being reviewed. Sent to my email address. With a link I didn't touch. In the morning, I played normal. Jenna poured coffee, kissed my forehead, and asked if I could handle school drop-off because she had an early meeting. She looked rested. I looked wrecked. Everything okay? She asked. Just work? I lied, because I needed facts. If this was identity theft, confronting her without a plan would be like handing over the steering wheel. At lunch, I called the number listed in the alert. I expected a bored rep. Instead, I got a cheerful voice that said, "Thank you for calling Horizon Line. Can I confirm the last 4 digits of your social security number?" My hand shook as I gave them. The rep pulled up my file like it was normal and read back details that were accurate. My address, my employer, even our mortgage payment. "Are you calling about the application you started online?" she asked. "I didn't start any application," I said, careful and slow. A pause. Keys clicking. It shows an application began from a mobile device and was saved, then completed with an e-signature. What email was used? She said my full email address. And the phone number on file? She read it. It was Jenna's number. Not mine. Not a shared line. Jenna's. I thanked her, ended the call, and sat in my car with my hands locked on the wheel, trying to breathe like a normal person. When I clicked the inquiry details, Ethan's company logo filled my screen. I didn't sleep that night. Or the next. Every time I closed my eyes, my brain replayed the same loop. Jenna's phone number tied to a loan in my name, a stranger's company logo on a credit inquiry, and my wife moving through our house like nothing had changed. I tried to eat breakfast, and my body rejected it. Coffee tasted like metal. At work, I stared at a server error log and couldn't process it. My manager asked a simple question, and I answered like I was underwater. I'm the guy who fixes other people's problems for a living, and suddenly, I couldn't even fix my breathing. The worst part was acting normal at home. Jenna talked about weekend plans and school fundraisers. She laughed at a meme and tried to show it to me, like we were still us. I caught myself watching her hands when she used her phone, like if I stared hard enough I'd see the lie leaking out. By Friday, I knew I couldn't do it alone. If I confronted her while I was this raw, I'd either explode or fold. So I called Mia. Mia is my older sister and the person who has never once said something just to make me feel better. She's blunt the way people are blunt when they love you. I met her at a quiet coffee shop near my office. My hands wouldn't stop shaking, so I wrapped them around my cup like it was a life raft. "What's going on?" she asked. I slid my phone across the table. The inquiry alert. The Horizon Line call summary I'd typed into notes. A screenshot of the bank settings showing my alerts toggled off. Mia read it all without speaking. When she finally looked up, her face was flat in a way that scared me more than anger. "Okay," she said. "Rule 1. You don't confront her yet." "What?" "Mia, she." "Rule 2." She cut in, holding up a finger. "You do not tip your hand. You gather facts, you protect yourself, then you talk." I swallowed. "Protect myself how?" Mia leaned forward. "Credit reports. Account access. Passwords. Separate money. You don't hope your way out of fraud." The word fraud made my stomach clench. I wanted this to be about feelings, because feelings are messy but familiar. Fraud sounded like courtrooms and my kid asking why dad looked scared. Mia stared at my screenshots and whispered, "This isn't just cheating, Ryan." Mia didn't just give advice. She gave me a checklist, like my marriage was a malfunctioning system and the fix started with diagnostics. That night, after Jenna went to bed, I pulled all 3 credit reports at the kitchen table with the lights off. They were cleanish until October. October 14th, Horizon Line Capital Inquiry. October 16th, New Trade Line, Horizon Line Installment. Opened, balance pending. And my mobile phone on file. Jenna's number. Next, I exported 90 days of bank activity from our joint accounts. Nothing huge, until I filtered for transfers and saw 3 Zelle payments to Ethan M. $250 for $100, then $1,000. Notes attached. Consult, Rush, Ty. I checked our family phone plan dashboard. I can't read texts, but I can see metadata. One number appeared again and again, mostly late nights. September 28th at 11:47 p.m. October 13th at 11:52 p.m. October 14th at 2:06 a.m. I copied it into notes and felt my own pulse in my fingertips. Then I looked at Jenna's calendar entries. Her Pilates blocks were marked private, but the location field still showed up twice. Coffee Lab downtown. Same shop as the odd charge. I searched old emails for refinance terms and found a thread from 2 years ago. Jenna and a broker. Same signature line, same logo. Horizon Line. Ethan wasn't a random name. He'd been in our financial life before I even noticed. I clicked the welcome, email, and spam and opened the application link in a private browser window. It asked me to verify identity with a code sent to the phone on file, Jenna's phone, so I couldn't proceed. But it displayed an application ID and a Documents tab. A DocuSign envelope sat there like a landmine. Sent October 13th at 11:48 p.m. I called Mia, whispering like Jenna could hear me through drywall. "This is insane." "It's not insane," she said. "It's deliberate. Screenshot everything. Date it. Don't touch her phone." I didn't need to touch it. The envelope details had an audit trail with device info. The DocuSign audit log showed my signature came from Jenna's iPhone. By the weekend, the evidence stopped feeling like suspicions and started feeling like a case file. The loan piece was already undeniable. My name, my SSN, my signature, at least a digital version of it, applied from Jenna's device, tied to Jenna's number, routed through Ethan's company. But the part of my brain that still loved my wife kept whispering, maybe Ethan is just a broker. Maybe Jenna panicked about money. Maybe there's an explanation that doesn't include betrayal. So I looked for proof of the thing I was avoiding naming. I didn't go through Jenna's phone. I didn't guess her passcode. I didn't install anything. I stayed on my side of the line, because if this ever turned legal, I needed to be able to say that honestly. What I did do was use our home iPad. It's the one our kid uses for cartoons, the one Jenna sometimes uses for recipes. Jenna's Apple ID was signed in for downloads, and that means notifications sometimes pop up even when you're not trying to see them. Saturday afternoon, I was searching Paw Patrol, and a banner slid across the top of the screen. "Ethan, you promised you wouldn't confront him until we're ready." My hands went cold so fast, I dropped the iPad onto the couch like it burned. Another banner followed. "Ethan, and don't forget, your husband's info is already in motion." I stared at those words until my eyes hurt. There it was, not just an affair, but coordination. Planning. I took a photo of the screen with my phone, making sure the date and time were visible. November 6th, 3:14 p.m. Then my body caught up with my brain. I went to the bathroom and threw up, quietly, so my kid wouldn't hear. That night, Jenna curled against me on the couch like nothing was wrong and asked what I wanted for dinner. I almost said, "Who is Ethan?" right then. But Mia's voice was in my head. Facts first. Protect yourself. Don't tip your hand. So I swallowed it, nodded, and played normal. After Jenna went to shower, I went to our closet to grab a hoodie. A shoebox behind her boots was slightly out of place, like it had been moved recently. I told myself to stop. My hand moved anyway. I opened our closet and realized Jenna had been hiding a second phone. The phone wasn't an old upgrade. It was cheap, black plastic, hairline scratches, no case. The kind of device you buy for one purpose and keep out of sight. My first instinct was to put it back and pretend I never saw it. My second instinct was louder. If my identity is being used, that phone is evidence. I didn't try to hack it. I just pressed the power button. The lock screen lit up, and, like the iPad banners, it gave me enough without me even opening anything. A notification from a bank app. Horizon line. Your disbursement is scheduled. Another from a document app. Reminder. One document awaiting signature. Then a message preview that made my mouth go dry. Ethan, once it funds, move it out fast. He can't see it. He can't see it. I took photos of the lock screen with the time visible. This thing wasn't even a normal line. It flashed no SIM, Wi-Fi calling. A tool. Under the phone was a manila envelope. Inside, printouts. Not love letters. Documents. A scanned copy of my driver's license. A scanned copy of my social security card. A PDF titled Horizon Line Personal Installment, Ryan W. Hart. And a page that looked like a checklist, with neat bullet points in Jenna's handwriting. Disable Ryan alerts. Use his email/my number. Finalize e-sign. Transfer to ACCT 4421. Delete notifications. I sat on the carpet of our closet, holding my own identity in my hands like it belonged to someone else. If that loan funded, it wouldn't just hurt my credit. It could freeze our accounts or trigger fraud flags at my job. It could make me look like I hid debt from my spouse, exactly the kind of mess that gets weaponized later. I heard the shower shut off. Jenna's footsteps moved down the hall. I slid everything back into place with shaking fingers and stumbled into bed, pretending my heart wasn't trying to escape my chest. When she climbed in, she touched my arm and murmured, "You okay?" I forced a laugh. "Yeah, just tired." In the dark, I stared at the ceiling and decided, I'm done being the last person to know what's happening in my own house. The screen lit up with a draft message addressed to Attorney Patel. Sunday morning, I sat in my car in a grocery store parking lot, holding my phone like it might explode. I had enough to confront Jenna. I could walk in, throw the shoebox on the table, and ask her why my social security card was hiding behind her boots. But if she'd already disabled my alerts and used my identity once, confronting her first would just warn her. She could move money, delete accounts, and build a story before I even knew the rules. So I protected myself. I met Mia at her place and laid everything out, photos of the lock screen, the Zelle payments, the handwritten checklist. Mia didn't gasp. She just nodded. 3 things. Today, she said. Freeze your credit. Separate your money. Call a lawyer. I don't want a divorce, I said, because my brain was clinging to the idea that this could be fixed with a conversation. Mia tapped the photo of my SS card. Ryan, this isn't about what you want. It's about what she's already done. I froze my credit at all 3 bureaus with shaking fingers. I opened a new bank account in my name only and started rerouting my paycheck. I changed every password I controlled and turned on 2-factor authentication. Then I made a folder on my laptop called Timeline and started writing facts instead of feelings. October 14th, Horizon Line Inquiry, 2:09 a.m. October 16th, Installment Trade Line opened. 11/06, iPad banners from Ethan. November 9th, disbursement scheduled, burner phone lock screen. Seeing it in bullet points made my stomach roll. This wasn't a mistake. It was a sequence. Mia slid a business card across the table. Attorney Patel, she said. He handled an identity theft case for my friend. He's calm. I called right there. A receptionist offered an appointment for Monday morning. That night, Jenna cooked dinner and talked about a weekend trip like nothing was wrong. I nodded and smiled and felt like I was watching myself from across the room. Monday, I sat across from Attorney Patel in an office that smelled like paper and coffee. I handed him my folder. He read the checklist, the DocuSign audit trail, the bank transfers. He didn't look shocked. He looked focused. Then he leaned back and said, "Ryan, I need you to answer this carefully." Attorney Patel asked one question that made my knees go weak. Patel's question was simple. "Have you ever authorized Jenna to sign anything for you?" I stared at him. "No." He nodded. "Then we treat this as potential identity theft and potential loan fraud. Your feelings matter, Ryan, but your documentation matters more. I wanted marriage advice." Patel didn't offer it. He offered steps. "Don't touch her devices," he said. "Don't confront until your credit is frozen, your pay is protected, and you've downloaded everything you can from your own access points. If you confront first, she may destroy evidence or move funds." "I froze my credit yesterday," I said. "Good. Next, contact the lender in writing and state you did not authorize the application. We can prepare an identity theft affidavit if needed. Also, separate your day-to-day money so you can pay bills if the joint account gets flagged." The phrase "joint account gets flagged" hit me like a slap. Before I left, Patel added, "If you confront her, do it controlled. No alcohol. No audience. Your child should not be present." I drove to Mia's and repeated that sentence first. Mia didn't hesitate. "Your kid stays with me. What time are you confronting her?" "Tomorrow night," I said. "Kitchen table." I spent that afternoon printing and organizing. The inquiry alert, the DocuSign audit trail with device info circled, the Zelle payments to Ethan M., the iPad banner photo with the timestamp, the handwritten checklist. I stapled it into a folder because paper feels harder to erase than a screen. Then I wrote a 4-line script on an index card, like a hostage negotiator talking to himself. "I know about Ethan. I know about the loan. I know about the second phone. Explain why my identity is involved. No yelling. No begging. No threats. Facts only." The next day, Mia picked up my kid after school. Jenna waved goodbye like it was any other Tuesday. When the car pulled away, the house felt too quiet. I set 2 glasses of water on the table like this was a meeting I didn't ask for. Jenna walked in, saw the folder, and paused. My voice came out steadier than I deserved. "Sit down." I slid the folder toward her and watched her face for any sign of panic, regret, anything human. When Jenna sat down, she glanced at the folder and didn't blink. I didn't start with why. I started with paper. I slid the credit alert toward her. Horizon line inquiry, date and time circled. Then the DocuSign audit trail with the device line highlighted. "This says my signature came from your iPhone," I said. "And Horizon line has your phone number on my application." Jenna read it without visible panic. She set it down neatly. "Okay." My stomach tightened. "Okay." I added the bank page with the Zelle transfers. "Ethan M. Who is Ethan?" She met my eyes, calm as a person discussing groceries. "Ethan," she said. "And you're going to breathe." "Don't tell me to breathe." I snapped, then forced my voice down. "Explain why my identity is involved." Jenna leaned back. "Because your credit is clean," she said, like that was the most reasonable thing in the world. "We needed liquidity," she added. "Fast. Your profile is perfect. Mine isn't." "You used my social security number," I said. "You scanned my card." Jenna didn't deny it. "I handled it," she said. "Like I handle everything you don't want to look at." "So this is about money?" I asked. "It's about survival," she corrected. "And Ethan knows how to structure things." "Structure?" I repeated. "You mean fraud." Jenna's expression barely changed. "Call it whatever you want. The loan gets approved. The funds move. We breathe again." "We?" I said sharp. "Or you?" For the first time, something cold flashed in her face. "You love the life," she said. "You just don't want the paperwork." I swallowed hard. "And Ethan, he's your broker?" Jenna glanced at the iPad photo, his message banner, the words, "Until we're ready." Then she looked back at me. "You want the full confession?" she asked. "Fine." "Yes," she said. "I slept with him." My fingers went numb on the table edge. She continued, voice steady. "It wasn't romantic. It was leverage. He doesn't do favors for free." "You weren't supposed to find out before it funded," she said. "Now you've made this complicated." I stared at her like she was a stranger wearing my wife's skin. She said, "Ethan didn't steal from you, Ryan. He collected. After I slept with him." Jenna sat back like she'd checked a box. "So," she said, "now you know." "Now I know you used my identity," I said. "And you're moving money I never agreed to borrow." Jenna's calm stayed in place, but her eyes sharpened. If the loan doesn't fund, we're in trouble. How much? I asked. A beat. 75,000. My stomach rolled. And where is it going? Temporary, she said. Ethan set up an account. It stabilizes things. She leaned forward, voice low. Funds hit, bills get paid, we breathe. You make this a scandal and you burn the house down with you inside it. That fear landed, because she wasn't wrong about the mechanics. My name was on the application. Then I slid my papers across the table. Credit freeze confirmations, a direct deposit change, and a receipt from Patel's office. Jenna blinked. Not panic, recalculation. You froze your credit, she said. I did, I said. And my paycheck is going to an account you can't access. Her voice sharpened. If you blow this up, they'll come after you. Your name is on the line. And if you leave first, she added, you'll look like you abandoned your child. You want to be the bad guy in every story? My throat tightened, but I didn't look away. I'm not leaving my kid, I said. I'm leaving the lies. And I have dates, logs, and your handwriting. Screenshots too. She held my gaze like a dare. I took a slow breath. DocuSign logs show your device and timestamps. That's not an opinion. For the first time, Jenna's calm slipped. It wasn't fear. It was irritation, like I'd ruined her schedule. You're going to report your wife? She said. I'm going to report whoever used my identity. I said. Tomorrow. Jenna's lips curled, almost a smile. By the time you report anything, it'll already be funded. I slid out one last page. The email I'd sent to Horizon Line, time-stamped and read-receipted. Jenna's smile vanished when I said, I already notified Horizon Line in writing. I didn't sleep after the confrontation. Jenna barely did either. By morning, she wore her normal mask again, packing lunch, asking about errands, acting like the kitchen table hadn't turned into a courtroom. Patel moved faster than my feelings. He drafted a statement to Horizon Line's fraud department. I did not authorize the application, I did not sign, and I had reason to believe my identity was used by someone with access to my documents. He attached the DocuSign audit trail, the credit alert, and my timeline. Then he suggested the exposure that made my stomach twist. We request a verification meeting, he said. If Jenna and Ethan are confident, they'll show. If they don't, that's information too. Jenna showed up. Of course she did. Patel's office had a small conference room with a flat screen on the wall and a pitcher of water nobody touched. Jenna arrived in a blazer like she was heading to a networking brunch, not a fraud meeting. She didn't look at me when she sat down. 2 minutes later, Ethan walked in. Mid-30s, expensive watch, smile sharpened to a point. He held out a hand like we were about to grill burgers together. Ryan, man, he said. I hate that it came to this. I didn't take his hand. Do you? I asked. Patel cut in calmly. Mr. Martin, thank you for coming. Horizon Line is on the line. A compliance officer joined by speakerphone. Patel shared the screen and pulled up the DocuSign audit log, dates, times, device type, IP range. Then the application metadata showing my email and Jenna's phone number. Ethan's smile stayed on, but I watched it stiffen at the corners. Jenna tried to speak. This is being blown out of. Ma'am, the compliance officer said. Please allow counsel to proceed. Patel didn't accuse. He asked questions. Who input the phone number? Who possessed Mr. Hart's SS card? What device produced the signature? Ethan leaned back like he was amused. People share devices, he said. Mistakes happen. Patel nodded once, almost polite. Great, he said. Then verifying the signature should be simple. Ethan's confident grin died when Patel asked him to verify my signature. The compliance officer didn't yell. She didn't threaten. She got procedural. Based on the audit trail and the dispute, she said, the disbursement will be paused pending investigation. Mr. Hart, we'll need an affidavit and an identity theft report number. Mr. Martin, your relationship with Horizon Line is suspended while we review. Ethan opened his mouth like he wanted to charm his way out. Patel cut in. Put it in writing. Jenna's face went tight. For the first time since I'd started this, she looked like someone had lost control of the steering wheel. That afternoon, Patel laid out the next steps in plain English. File an FTC identity theft report and a police report if advised. Send those reports to the lender and credit bureaus. Dispute the trade line and lock down any new accounts. Keep communication with Jenna in writing where possible. If separation is on the table, get temporary agreements, especially with a child. Hearing temporary made me want to laugh and cry at the same time. My whole life had become temporary. I didn't move out that night. Patel advised against dramatic exits. Instead, I set boundaries like firewall rules. I slept in the guest room. I moved my personal documents to a lockbox at Mia's. I stopped using the joint card. I turned on credit monitoring alerts so loud they could wake the dead. Jenna cycled through anger, bargaining, and softness in a single day. "You humiliated me," she snapped. Then, quieter, "We can fix this if you just cooperate." Then, like a script, "Ryan, I did this for us." I kept my voice steady. "You did it without me," I said. "You don't get to call that for us." For our kid, we kept it simple. No details. No blame. Just consistency. Mia helped with pickups, so we didn't have to perform happy couple in the driveway. By the end of the week, Horizon Line sent a formal letter acknowledging my dispute and confirming the loan was under review. The trade line still showed up on my report, but now it had a dispute flag. I should have felt relief. Instead, I felt hollow, like the truth had scooped me out and left me standing anyway. That's when Jenna called, and her voice sounded smaller than I'd ever heard. Jenna called on a Thursday night while I was folding tiny shirts that didn't deserve any of this. Her voice was quiet. "Ryan, Ethan isn't answering." A month ago, that sentence would have made me jealous. Now it just sounded like a bill coming due. "Horizon Line is calling me," she said. "He promised he'd handle it. He said it would be fine." I stayed calm, mostly because I didn't have any energy left for rage. "This was never fine," I said. She swallowed hard. "I didn't think it would get this big." "That's because you kept me out of it," I replied. "You made my name the tool and acted like I was the problem." There was a long silence. Then, smaller, "I didn't mean to hurt you." Intentions don't undo fraud. They don't repair trust. They don't erase the moment you realize your spouse can use your identity like a spare key. Patel's advice echoed in my head. Closure is a process, not a single conversation. So I didn't try to win the call. I set boundaries. "If you need to talk about our kid, text me," I said. "Everything financial goes through counsel. And stop contacting Ethan." "Are you divorcing me?" she asked. I looked at the laundry pile and pictured my kid's face, still believing both parents were safe. "I'm choosing safety," I said. "Whatever paperwork matches, that is what happens." The next weeks were unglamorous and healing in a way drama never is. I filed the FTC identity theft report. I disputed the trade line with the audit log and my timeline. I kept everything dated, backed up, and boring, because boring is what protects you when someone else tries to rewrite your reality. If you're in that fog, where your gut screams but your heart begs you to ignore it, here's what I learned the hard way. Keep alerts you control. Monitor your credit. Lock up your documents. And if money or identity is involved, talk to a lawyer before you confront your spouse. The first time I felt real peace wasn't in Patel's office. It was a Saturday morning, sunlight through the blinds, pancakes on the stove, my kid laughing at syrup on their nose, and my phone staying silent.